So I'm going to be carried in every foxtrot.
Oh, so which fox? It was only a certain.
It was only a certain amount of. Yeah, I'm gonna be like.
okay,
I had
congrats,
a conversation.
man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be in every foxtrot now. So
wow,
that's gonna be a lot of bottles coming out of this. Yep. They're also doing pouches too. Thanks for tuning in to episode 22 of the Sultan of Slow Drip. I'm your host, the Sultan of Slow Drip, back with Victor.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It's been a while, guys.
Yeah. Has it been a month though?
Yeah, I think it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been.
We missed a week. We missed one episode.
Yeah, we missed one episode.
2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks, and then
Thanksgiving,
everything.
Yeah. Hope everyone had a good one.
Yeah, that was actually. I don't know if I went into detail about what happened to me a little bit, but I've been getting migraine attacks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too deep. It's unfortunate though.
Yeah.
Like incapacitating.
Like
migraines.
like vomiting, like. Yeah, so
oh, wow.
And I had one the night before our scheduled
filming.
filming.
Right.
Like it takes me a full day to recover.
A very sudden onset.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty slow build up.
Or is it so because you've been and you attribute it to the masks?
Yeah, so I noticed that was the common denominator. Okay. Is like I would always get it after about 2 or so hours of wearing a mask.
Okay.
And basically I would get like this kind of dark circle of like I can't see in this little spot, like someone's holding a fist over the side of my face.
Wow.
And then I get this really intense nausea. And if I don't take off that mask very shortly thereafter, then I'm going to go into full-blown migraine, which basically feels like a really terrible hangover. Like when I drove home, I felt like, wow, this should be illegal because like I'm totally messed up. Like I can barely see straight. The street lights are blurry.
And you're not the only case that I've heard get migraines that attribute it to masks.
Mm-hmm. You have to wear a mask a lot, don't you?
I during teaching, you're speaking, right? So I definitely feel winded after teaching even 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. But Victor's an EMT, by the way. That's what. Yeah.
EMT teacher as well. But I mean, surgeons Justine too. Like during the case pre-pandemic, are wearing it throughout the
all
cases,
the time,
and these cases could be 8 hours, 10 hours long,
exactly.
Right. So I mean, people have been wearing similar masks for a while, even before the pandemic. And I'm not sure if they've developed symptoms of migraines or anything like that. I can't deny that Justin's been feeling
it's a
this,
case
right?
by
We're
case
not
thing,
doing this. It's a case by case basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you are feeling these things, think about it. I mean, it could be the lack of oxygen that you're getting from wearing these masks for a prolonged period of time. So then, if you have to be in a place that does require it, then either don't go or take breaks.
Definitely taking fresh air breaks was like
there is
really
that thing
crucial.
where if you have a medical issue and you can't wear masks, then find a way to document that and then show it. Right?
I was thinking maybe like face shield or something. I don't know, like a way to like. Not to comply with people's requests when I go into their establishments while still like not putting myself, because there's very little that I'm doing in life that's worth having a full-blown migraine. Yeah. Like, someone's like, you can't come into my shop. It's like, hey, if it's between me coming to your shop and getting a full-blown migraine, peace. Yeah. It's like I'm willing to say no to a bunch of things in order to avoid having a migraine. Yeah. And at the same time, too, I'm willing to kind of negotiate with a person on an interpersonal level, at least, and say, hey, like, can I wear a face shield? Yeah. Because if you look at the law, it says that it's up to the discretion of the shop owner, at least in Illinois, to say, you can wear a face shield or you can wear something that is a barrier that doesn't have to be a full-on face mask. Like,
you ever try those like scarves looking thing?
I did try a scarf, and for a while it seemed like it was working, but I had the same problem.
Yeah, bandana, right?
Okay. Yeah, and the issue, because it's a several-fold issue as far as I can tell. One of the problems I was having is the pulling on the ears, and that would just be a really fast trigger. That would be like an hour.
Yeah.
But with the bandana, with no pulling on the ears, I had more longevity in the mask, but eventually I still got a migraine.
Okay.
So I do think there's some kind of like oxygen thing going on. I'm anemic. I've been anemic my whole life. So yeah, I've always been on iron. Had a very low, like relatively speaking, red blood cell count, my whole life. So maybe that's a part of it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have something like the sickle cell trait or something like that. It's pretty common among black people.
No, if you, the
trait,
you would know though.
The trait you wouldn't necessarily, because you don't have full blown sickle cell anemia. You just like carry, because you have to have both of the recessive genes in order for it to give you full.
Oh, you have the trait. So
like I have a buddy who has the sickle cell trait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's totally fine.
Yeah, because it doesn't come out as the phenogenic.
Right, but he's anemic like myself too.
Phenotype.
Yeah, just like normal anemic, not like full blown like sickle cell anemic.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm just like speculating at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty interesting to like I posted about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I got this really kind of. I posted on Facebook, so
Sure.
these are people I know.
Oh.
And I was like, hey guys, I've been getting like just really awful migraines these days, like and just like vomiting and like just crazy.
Yeah.
Almost like just like get hungover basically, and I had some people who were like, well, if I can wear a mask, you can wear a mask, and I'm like, okay. And then I had, other people who were like, yeah, I've gone through the same thing. And then, I've had, other people who are like, well, like kind of suck it up type thing. And I'm like, how do you suck up a migraine? Like I think they were trying to make more of it than what I was saying. Like,
yeah. And we're falling back down to being like a generalist, right?
Yeah.
Like just because it works or doesn't work for you doesn't mean it works or doesn't work for other people.
Yeah.
We can't just throw a blanket statement on on any issue,
Right.
especially this issue. And you didn't even try to politicize it, and you just
I was sharing, and I got so many private messages of people saying like, hey, I don't really talk about this in public, but yeah, I get migraines all the time. And I'm just like, that's crazy. You can't talk about it.
Yeah, you feel embarrassed or ashamed to
Yeah.
talk about it. You don't want to rock the boat or stoke the fire.
It's like, what boat though? It's like, it's not a willpower issue.
Don't deny what you're feeling, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's not it's akin to
like
how
you're not trying to be a dick.
Yeah, it's like some people get made to feel bad for having medical issues, and I don't get it. Like, I don't understand where that comes from in our society, where people attack people for having medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the one person who honestly had just gone through a really traumatic. They survived a car accident that they should not have survived, and they've been really kind of traumatized by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, hey man, you're going through some real trauma right now in your life medically, and all I've ever done is be really supportive of you and, give you well wishes, and I hope you're doing well. I'm just kind of surprised that a person in your position can't see that someone having a medical issue is vulnerable. And just like talking to other people just helps. Like, because you are on here, every day talking about your trauma, and it's important. Like, I'm not ever going to clown you for going through trauma or having a medical problem, because you're all kind of mangled up from this accident. But don't belittle what I'm going through just because, like, oh, you can wear a mask. Like,
I think there are people that maybe fake it or something like that, and like they just like they ruin it for others that actually have a medical issue. So there's clowns on both sides of the spectrum.
I mean, I do remember making a delivery, and there was a guy coming out of one of the places where I was making the delivery, and he made some comment about like, do I have to wear this mask to me? And I'm just like delivering. I'm like, you can do whatever you want. And, and he's just like, he's a nutter. And, he's just like, yeah, that's what I like to hear. Da, da, da. He's like talking and spitting and all that stuff. And I'm just like, guy, like, you're not helping anybody.
No.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, what do you think the key takeaway is? Just like not exactly mind your business, but listen more. And I mean, try not to have your own pre-notions, like preconceptions of like what, when you're listening, just active listening in general. And you can't deny someone feeling something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting takeaway, because I think to a great extent what we are willing to accept from others, at least some of us who are a little more like kind of socially driven. When I say that, I mean like there are people who kind of have their compass, and their compass is like set based on something that comes from inside themselves and something that's from their family,
close from them,
or someone that's in their family. Like it's just
so until it affects that, and that goes back to when the vaccine first came out. It's just like you're not gonna get it until someone has been affected, and then you're on your hospital bed and you're like, give me everything. And
like, I mean, what? There are people who have their compass like imposed on them as well too, because like there are a lot of people who just kind of go with whatever's like the thing to do, and that's the whole phenomenon of the pile on, where people just pile on
Groupthink,
so it's like, I would say, do what you think your parents would have told you to do as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because generally what parents try to tell you as a kid is to just be a good person. And it's not like, I don't believe in, for example, like the golden rule where it's like, it's treat others the way you want to be treated. Because there may be ways you want to be treated that other people don't want to be treated, right? I would say the golden rule that I like to follow is don't treat other people the way you don't want to be treated. So there's like something that you know is rude, like you would not want to be treated that way. Do not treat other people that way. And I think that's a good start. Because, you know, hey, I might want a foot massage, but you might not like foot massages. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't want to necessarily treat someone the way you want to be treated. But we all can kind of agree, like, a good place to start is don't treat other people the way you don't want to be treated.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the takeaway I get from it. And also, too, it's just like, at the end of the day, like, if people believe or don't believe, you know, I just kind of keep going with my life because...
You have to.
You have to.
Point. You're just gonna go deeper and deeper into a hole, and you're gonna just not live a happy life because you're just gonna be worried about what other people are doing.
And then I'm doing the thing that they're accusing me of. I'm trying to, like, you know, influence. I don't really care, but I just thought like it would be worth sharing with other people to kind of get it off my chest too. Like, am I going?
Other people are probably experiencing it too.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. When I put it out there, a lot of people reached out to me in private and were like, hey, I'm going through this too. And it's like, hey, I'm glad that was worth it just to hear from you guys so we can now talk to each other, share tips about how to feel better and, you know, get through this whole thing. So,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, has anyone else, whoever's watching, just like experienced anything that you attribute to, you know, any negative symptoms that you attribute to possibly wearing a mask? Just let us know, you know, privately or publicly.
I mean, I've had a few people who had to do it professionally say like, hey, it was kind of common knowledge on the job that like some people just, they got messed up. And, you know, it's like, for example, some women have debilitating menstruation, debilitating. Come on now. What are you gonna go to her and say like, oh yeah, Susie can handle it? Why? It's like, no, she's not. Susie's not going through what she's going through.
Suck it up.
You know, it's like, yeah, there's so many reasons you couldn't do that.
Right.
So, but this, for whatever reason, people want to do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, another takeaway is like, what are you doing to circumvent that? Or are you just being more judicious with where you're going that needs a mask?
I'm going fewer places.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm going fewer places, spending less time there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's for the most part. I wear a bandana as much as possible. I try to give myself as kind of much of a pocket as I can.
Sure.
In my bandana. I keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's long-term workable, but it's kind of what I do. I mean, fortunately, when you go out and eat, you know, once you're seated, you know, it's like...
yeah, that's very hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah, so...
It's silly.
Yeah, but, you know, I just get along that way, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, something's got to break, and I definitely don't think it's going to be like, oh, we wear masks or space helmets for the next 40 years, you know?
We took the fam to the United Center for the Bulls game.
Yeah.
And, you know, multiple times via email, they're like, bring your proof of vaccination. And, you know, maybe it was just the person that from the gate that we went to, but it's like a quick flash. They're like, come on in.
That's what it's, you know.
And, you know, people are walking around the stadium unmasked or masked. And, you know, it's too many people to just go to each person and control each person. And I think this is something that you have to foresee if you want to go to places like this and like a restaurant or anything like that, football game. And you should expect people to be like this. And if you have any hesitation, then don't go.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it almost seems like it's crying wolf in terms of like, we're going to comply or we're going to ask you to comply, but then we're going to just kind of like not really
it's like the picking and choosing. It's like certain instances.
It's like either say like, we're not going to do it or do it. But to like say you're going to do it and then not do it.
Or they're leaving it up to the business, right? I'm
talking about the business.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a business, you go, hey, like we're not going to enforce this. Like this is just, you know, logistically a nightmare. So we're not going to enforce it. But
it's to save face.
It's
right?
It's to save face. It's to like to say you did something you didn't do. To an extent, like
it's very interesting.
You know, oh yeah, we require proof of vaccination. But then nobody actually does it. It's like, oh yeah, but we spend like, you know, X amount of dollars doing the enforcement, and then X time, like 10X times that talking about how we do it. You know, and it's like, whatever.
It's silly. It's silly.
Yeah.
It's interesting how far someone will go to save face.
Yeah.
But you know, I and our family didn't fight it. We're happily, bring any proof that we got to bring because we want to enjoy a good time. We want to go there and we did have a good time. So
that's good. That's important.
It is what it is, right? Like at the end of the day, you can't worry too much about it. If you feel hesitant to go, don't go. That's all.
Yeah. That's,
it's like that's your choice.
Right.
That's it. Don't make a fuss about it.
Yeah.
You seeing all these people unmasked, like I'm okay with it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's funny. The normal default is now the inverse. It's like it's weird times.
Well, it's only because like the whole family is vaccinated. Yeah. Right. So like that's why we feel comfortable. And then some people that aren't vaccinated probably would still feel comfortable, and that's okay. That's fine. But it'd be a different story. Like people were more cautious. Like our parents were more cautious because they're older and they hesitated to leave the house until they were fully vaccinated. But I'm glad it worked out the way it worked out.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, that's the long-winded way of saying this is why we took so long to get to our next episode. Justin's getting migraines. And,
dang.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't have that happen again. So for today's episode, we're actually going to do some Turkish coffee again.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a really interesting coffee too, and I've been letting it sit in the water for a while. So this is cold water. Because if you recall, the Turkish works best with really, really finely ground like makeup powder.
Okay.
Like baby powder.
Sure.
Ground coffee. And I like to sit it into the water because if you think about it, that coffee ground absorbs that water over time, but it's not like fully brewing yet because this has only been sitting here since we just started the episode,
right?
Which is not a long enough time for it to brew.
Okay.
But when that water penetrates into the ground, if you were to add just like hot water to a ground, it's going to brew the outside first, right? The outside of that ground before it can penetrate into the ground and pull that, the goodness out of it. But if you do cold water, the water is able to penetrate into the ground first. And then when you heat it up, that adds energy to not only outside, but the inside of the ground at a more even kind of rate.
Okay.
Yeah. So it allows you to get a more even, less bitter extraction because you're not just scorching the front of, because in order to get the full extraction, you have to let it penetrate into the ground. And if that outside is...
And it's able to penetrate with the cold water?
It's able to penetrate
over time?
It's like a sponge, because it's cellulose. Like if you look at a coffee ground, it looks like a sponge.
Okay.
Under a microscope.
Under a microscope?
Yeah. It looks like a sponge.
Oh, okay.
So it's got little porous like holes and stuff in it. And it swells up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just need to give it some time to absorb some water.
Gotcha.
And then once you turn that heat on, now the coffee or the water that's inside the ground is actually heating up at the same time as the ones outside touching the ground.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's just a little pro tip to get coffee that's a little less bitter if you're making Turkish is to use cold water. And even with the more traditional style Turkish where they're using the sand, they start with cold water. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's I don't know if that was known at the time that Turkish coffee was developed.
Yeah.
But I think maybe people kind of figured out like, hey, this tastes better with cold water than with hot water.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, you're always adding hot water to the grounds. But yeah, so pretty interesting style. Let me go ahead and get this all ready. And we're going to do a filtration on it. So I'm going to put this on an induction heater. The reason why I use the induction is it's just much faster. Yeah, it's a magnetic heater. So it just heats up lightning fast. Which is important because you just get less time differential between the inside and the outside heating up again.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Where are, while you're doing that, where are some good places to get Turkish coffee?
There are very few places actually in the city that have Turkish. I'm trying to remember the name. Give me a sec. It'll come to me. I've seen it a few places, but it's not so common. Four-letter word actually is one place.
Really?
Yeah, they have it.
Oh, four-letter word.
And we're going to be doing Turkish just a little bit different. Last time we did it filtering through an AeroPress. This time same thing, but we're going to filter it through a V60.
Oh, I didn't know we did AeroPress last time.
Yeah. We put it through an AeroPress and just kind of pressed it pretty hard. This one I'm going to try not to burn my fingers, but we're going to do it through a V60, and there's a little bit of a technique to how to get that out of there. So I'll show that. So I'm just kind of keeping my eye on this and letting it come to a pretty, gentle boil. And when it starts to like puff up, that's when I'm going to pull it.
Okay. Like as it's about to hit the tip?
Yeah, as it's about to it's
the
going
rim?
to just swell up, and then that's when I'm going to pull it.
Do you know approximately what temp that would be? Like 180 or 200?
It would probably be like 202, 205.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
that kind of range.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Starting to rumble a little bit. Yep. Because
Smells
I'm doing
good.
Yeah, this coffee right here is really awesome too. It's a Costa Rican coffee that's double washed. So basically, when they take the coffee cherry and they remove the fruit from the outside, there's a period where you put it into a fermentation tank to clean it off, and they do that part twice. They double ferment it.
Doesn't that wash away all the sugar? The sugars?
It just the outside of the.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still an unroasted raw bean, and it just cleans the outside of the coffee more. So it's like less prone to.
What's that? The mucus called? Forgot the name. Learned it in Hawaii.
Why am I blanking on this? I need coffee. I think that's why. It'll come to me in a second, but yeah, basically that's what they're removing, like the fruit pulp, basically. Yep. All right, here we go. It's starting to swell up now. All right, caught it.
Nice.
Yep. All right, so now I'm gonna just pour that in here.
Okay. And is there a difference between a V60 and Chemex?
Yeah, so basically, V60 uses thinner filters.
Oh.
Yeah, and also, there's a different in dimension.
Like smaller, like, what do you mean?
Like the paper stock.
Filters more or filters less?
The V60 filters less.
Oh.
The paper stock is thinner.
Oh.
Whereas the Chemex filter is like a really thick,
so
heavy.
You get what, more acidity out?
Well, what you get is more body because there's fewer oils being trapped in the paper.
Yeah.
So that's one part, and then also too, both of them are pretty good with getting the sediment out.
Yeah.
So mainly it's the body, and then also the angle of the actual brewer itself is like just a little different. So that possibly changes it too. This one's also rifled, if you see. So that's
the filter.
Yeah, the actual brewer is rifled. So you see those little, not the waves here. Yeah, the rifling.
Inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
And what
so that's supposed to help draw down the coffee.
Does it?
Yeah. So here's now where I have to intervene.
Okay.
And start to do my little pinchy twisty.
Pinchy twisty.
Yep. So this is how you get it, because the Turkish calls for a filtration that's way finer than you would ever put through a V60. So you kind of have to assist it and coax it through. So that requires me to take this, pinch it, and then start to twist it.
Sure.
And this requires...
And normally you wouldn't do this.
Normally you would never do this, yeah. But now I'm kind of squeezing.
Would that force the oils into the
yeah,
coffee?
It would actually. Yeah, it would. You're going to see the leftover too, where some of the oils and sediment, got kind of stuck on top.
Sure.
But this is one of those things where you kind of need like restaurant fingers because it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Reminds me. I remember back when I was working in fine dining, we would switch menus every few months, and there was one menu, after every menu you have to learn things kind of on the fly, just like as you're running through. And one thing they wanted to do was serve on like really hot plates, so they put the plates in the oven. And the chefs are handing you plates out of the oven, and you're grabbing them. Like, we were literally dropping plates. Like,
was that hot?
They were so hot. Yeah.
So would they get mad?
They would get mad, but they would also tell you, like, use your fingertips to grab your nail.
So you're grabbing it like how?
So you basically grab it using the fat of your thumb instead of the tip.
Huh!
Yeah, on the side of the plate, and then instead of holding it with your fingertips on the bottom, you just put your nails on it. And you can't feel heat as much here on the fat. I mean, you don't want your finger on the plate anyway, just because you don't want to leave fingerprints. But you have fewer nerve endings here, and no skin contact on here. So you're holding it kind of like
one plate at a time in each hand.
Double hand, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, you're holding them like.
So
this.
I can't like trade hands like.
No. And you're just making it happen. And then maybe you grab serviettes or something too, like.
Right.
Or you could dip your hand in ice water and then just like have really cold hands, dry them off, and then.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the things that we do.
I probably couldn't handle the heat, guys, as much as I want to.
Fine dining was kind of crazy. So yeah, we'll take a look inside of here real quick. So yeah, you see on top like that sludge, and then there's oil on top of there as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if.
Hold it like right here by your face, because it's gonna.
It's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
By my face like this. Oh. As long as that didn't go inside of my my cup, we're all good.
Yeah. We're good.
But yeah, all right. So I'm gonna just ditch this real quick. All right.
Do you prefer Turkish to espresso?
No.
Mm.
It's just that you know, you need an espresso machine. Though there is this one espresso machine that is like looking pretty awesome. It's called the Flare, and it's a manual lever machine. It's like in the $300 range.
Oh, that's not bad.
And
for espresso.
Yeah, and it seems really awesome. So I may cop that. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Blueberry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of blueberry. A little bit of baker's chocolate.
Nutty.
Yeah, and it's got like a little bit of fruit on there, almost like dried apricot.
Okay. Yeah, that tartness.
Yeah.
That light tartness.
It's like if someone made brownies and then just threw like a little dried apricots in the brownie. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of chocolate chips.
Mm-hmm.
Super clean coffee too.
Very clean.
Yeah. So that's that double wash that I was talking about. Like, you know, the washing process is what gives coffee its kind of clarity.
Okay.
So it like, because imagine this. So you have a fruit seed. Let's think of something like a peach.
Sure.
Right? A peach has tons of fruit on the outside, right?
Yeah.
So coffee is kind of similar to that, where you can leave any amount of that fruit stuck to the seed that you want. That's going to attract all kinds of like bacteria and all kinds of like yeast and stuff, and even little critters. And that's going to create this kind of wild environment to add flavor to that bean.
But you want to control it.
You want to control it. I mean, you can do like a full out uncontrolled, you know, process too, but then you're kind of running the risk of it, you know, not coming out the way you want it to. Or you can remove degrees of that away from it. Mucilage is the word. That's it. See, I just needed some coffee.
Mucilage.
Just need.
Oh.
That picked me up. Yeah. And basically, the more you kind of remove from the seed, the cleaner the just pure seed flavor comes out, that roasted seed flavor.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, for example, in Kenya, they use a 72-hour process. You know, other places, they might just use a 12-hour process. And Kenyan coffees are just prized for their clarity.
Okay.
So this is like a Kenyan and a half process. You know, they like go even longer than the 72 hours. So yeah, because it's a double process.
Okay.
So
is this the same coffee you use for your limited edition?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah,
okay.
it's actually from a similar region as one of the
Costa Rican.
Mm-hmm,
right? Okay.
Yep. Because I did 2 limited editions at the same time. I did one that was a little more kind of fruity, and then one that was the cinnamon process. So
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and those have been going over really well.
Good.
The cinnamon one is so good hot. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Jake bought some and he's like, oh, it's not dark enough for me. Jake likes to just drink pure coffee syrup though. So. But yeah, I have a bag of this. So I think I'm going to do this for my next limited in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You see the chocolate is subsiding now too. And the fruit is kind of coming forward a little bit more, like the stone fruit.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys went to Chris Kendall recently. Did you get mulled wine by any chance?
We got the white mulled wine.
How was that?
That was nice.
How was it compared to?
I've never had white mulled wine.
Yeah, me neither. How did it say similar to that cocktail that we did? You remember the beer one? Out of curiosity.
No.
Was it a lot sweeter? Like
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely sweeter.
Okay.
But even when like I would have both. I mean, I liked yours.
Yeah.
I liked yours a lot. We Jake, what else we got? We got was it Danishes? We got strudels or something.
Oh yeah,
we got
strudels. Yeah.
We got Bavarian Pretzels.
Oh yeah.
Not the bland bratwurst, but like it's called kilometers, so it's like a grilled bratwurst.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was a good time.
That sounds fire, man.
Good time. We went on the first day it was open. If you go during the day, it's not as crowded, obviously.
It's still going on right now too. Yeah.
It's still going on.
That's good. Yeah, I should take the fam.
Yeah. Till Christmas, I think.
I was on daddy duty that night,
Sure.
so yeah, I had to put Sarah down and yeah. You also went to Fobab recently too, right?
Did not do Fobab, but I celebrated Fobab by going out to. We went to Beer Temple, which is right by your taco joint that you took me to.
Oh yeah.
I was across the street from that. So during Fobab, a bunch of these bars and breweries were just releasing their special dark stuff.
Gotcha.
And that's I didn't have tickets to Fobab.
You made it look like you went to Fobab.
Which was at UIC.
Really convincing.
Honestly, like Fobab, I would be wasted after 2 or 3 beers, and that's just like that's what I learned from any beer festival.
Yeah.
It's just you don't really taste it. But you look at the list from Fobab, and Smiley, which is up in Evanston, won first place for their stout, I think, and
very cool.
never heard of it before Fobab. So
gotta check it out. It's probably like
check out Smiley
$20 a can
now. Yeah. Recently, I went to Old Irving to pick up their Krampus series.
Mm-hmm.
It's they did 5 variants. They did like an apple brandy, which is a surprise one. Their usual one, they collab with Hex Coffee, and they make that stout. These are all barrel-aged stout beers. And then I bought the best one. My favorite one was the coconut Krampus. I go nuts for anything coconut.
Coconut?
Okay. Cocoa Krampus, and then they did a peanut butter one, and then a cookies one.
Dang. Like a chocolate chip cookie or?
Like cookies and cream, I think.
Cookies and cream.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that. But it was all good. Old Irving's a place where it's like good food, good beer, solid variety of beer. But yeah, it was hard to get a seat on a Friday after Thursday afternoon. But it was nice.
Gotcha.
Just line up, and I went to just originally pick up beer, and then friends showed up. I'm like, I guess I'll stay. Yeah.
Yeah. I swear I thought you were at Fobab. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I was invited to go, and I was like, I gotta pass. Like, it's just I'd be wasted.
Yeah. I tried to do a video at Uppers and Downers one time.
Okay.
And that's like a very similar festival. It's a coffee beer festival.
Yeah.
That they do at Talia Hall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it usually at Talia Hall?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Okay.
And I just got so smashed I could barely do a video.
Right.
And I'm also shouting. I'm like, yeah, we're at Uppers and Downers. And it's just like, and just probably spitting on people.
Fun fact, I forgot what year, maybe 2017 or 2018. I met Justin through Jake at CoffeeCon.
Yeah.
Through CoffeeCon. And it's crazy how far we've come now.
For real.
But you haven't done a convention since pandemic stuff, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, pandemic stuff. I've had
just
people.
Some like virtual stuff.
Yeah, I did one virtual. I did CoffeeCon online.
Right.
And then I also did CiderCon online, too, which we recorded the video for. Yeah, so I've done 2 online events since.
Do you miss it?
A part of me misses it. A part of me, like, hates logistics. So like the setup and you know all that breakdown and stuff, like I don't like that stuff, you know.
If you can bring someone on for that day,
yeah.
You know, I think it's always special to meet the person behind the brand.
Yeah.
So like definitely show up for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just for the you time, right? But behind the scenes, like
I can definitely
say someone can help you do that.
The rubbing elbows and meeting people part was always
awesome.
fun. Having people just like, you know, ask me questions about like coffee or, you know, Kyoto style, all kinds of stuff. Like that's always been fun. Or doing presentations, on stage presentations. Love that stuff. So yeah, I just need handlers. That's all. Like, you know, like Weekend at Bernie's, they just carry me around everywhere, just like make sure I show up, and you know, that's pretty much it for me.
Do you know of any coming up or?
No, there were a couple that was supposed to happen, and I guess you know they can't really pull it off the way they want to. Like making it outdoors, for example, when it's just an indoors event by its nature. Yeah. You know, so I think we just have to kind of wait till this all clears up. To be honest, like. You know, we did Dila did the wine fest at Museum of Science and Industry, and just like any restaurant, you know, you're sipping, your mask is down, and then there are people like walking around like, oh, you're not drinking, put your mask back up, kind of thing. But you know, these are things that you have to abide by if you want to host events like this, and you're in a certain business, the Museum of Science and Industry, they have their own rules. Exactly.
So
yeah, I think the culmination of like difficulties just make people not hold the events ultimately.
Sure. Yeah,
because it's like enforcement, lower attendance, and that's the big one really. Lower attendance.
Right.
And then also having the venue actually like be open to hosting. You know, like you have that whole thing coming together, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, we'll just wait it out and just see, and we'll in the meantime we'll just do virtual.
Right.
So you know, CoffeeCon, they did like a kit that you could get as a part of your registration to taste along and to kind of experience, you know, something of being at the actual con. So
like, was Kyoto part of that or
no, Kyoto was not a part of that. Okay. But you know, it was mostly beans. It was just easier to kind of get beans to people, like little samples of beans, whereas like you send coffee and it's just like way heavier or cold brew. It's just way heavier.
You don't have
to ship it out, and then now it's like you got to really wrap it up, because if you break the bottle or something, then everything's gonna get kind of trashed. So I was like, I can supply you with a whole pouch. I don't know if people want a whole pouch for like the sampler, but
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so it was kind of just not a easy way to make it happen on the fly.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, we're looking forward to the next one.
Yep.
Whenever
definitely
that
looking
is.
forward. Yep. We'll see how it goes. I mean, maybe some of these things can become springtime events and
Hopefully.
just throw open a circus style tent or something like that.
I wonder what's going to happen in 2022. Because I feel like there's some sense of normalcy, right? But like, I wonder how much more normal we can get, or how much different it's
extra
gonna
normal.
become. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will tell you one thing: Ghetto Black will be opening its doors again in 2022. And,
which I mean, are you looking forward to that? Is anything going to be different?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to rework some things in here. Just I need to increase my capacity, because like last year was very taxing as far as just
capacity to produce or
to produce and to store.
Oh, okay.
And to see if I can find a way to kind of outsource some of my bottling, for example, because bottling is about to absolutely take off.
What do you mean? Whoa,
yeah. So I guess I can talk about this now. So I'm gonna be carried in every Foxtrot.
Oh, so which Fox? It was only a certain.
It was only a certain amount of. Yeah, I'm gonna be like.
Okay,
I had
Congrats,
a conversation.
Man.
Yeah, and I'm
cool.
gonna be in every Foxtrot now. So
wow,
that's gonna be a lot of bottles coming out of this. Yeah,
they're
also doing pouches too.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
For their delivery, home delivery.
Good for them. Good for you. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, so things are about to get crazy for 2022. And I need more capacity.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Nice. Good for you, man. We're excited. That's awesome.
Question of the day.
Yeah.
Will you swing by Foxtrot and grab some Kyoto Black?
Yeah.
Let me know.
When and the popsicles are coming back in the summer? Do we have to?
And they're gonna carry those too.
Foxtrot?
Yeah, they're coming back. Yeah, the popsicles coming back in spring.
Spring.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, springtime is going down because I'm opening back up. Popsicles are going back online. We'll be in Foxtrot completely, like everywhere.
Yeah.
They said I'm like their best-selling cold brew.
No surprise.
One dude, like,
No
all
surprise.
these companies, and I'm like, yeah, they're like, yeah, you're our top-selling cold brew.
So what do you think? What do you think would happen? And we've talked about this before, but like at Whole Foods, like big groceries,
yeah.
like would that really put you over the top where you really don't have the means to produce?
I would absolutely have to categorically refuse to even take the business because I wouldn't want to disappoint them. I can't keep up with it.
Your quality would go down.
I wouldn't
even be able to do it.
I wouldn't even be able to fulfill. I'd be late all the time. I'd be, so I just would have to say, hey, come back to me in a year. Come back to me when I have some.
Do you think what's the worth or value of being underground, or do you consider yourself still underground now that you've kind of made it in all the Foxtrots?
Yeah, I'm still underground, and
like, is there an appeal to that? Is there value to being hard to find?
Yeah, I think there's a value into like being that word of mouth kind of discovery where it's like, we're not really big time advertising, we're not like this large company, but people are still finding out about us, and that's just through word of mouth, or that's just through seeing my logo on a counter and going like, wow, that looks really cool, let me check it out, and then really being pleasantly surprised. And I love that, just knowing that there's a good percentage of people who see my logo and just are drawn to it just because it looks pretty cool. And they're like, holy smokes, like, how did I not find out about this? Because when that happens, that's when they really, really talk, because they're like, hey, have you heard of this? Boom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've said it before. It's just like people want to share good things, right?
Yep.
And especially when you feel like it's unheard of and a lot of people haven't heard of this, you want to be that person that shares.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever have to really advertise, to be honest, like the way that I just
good work speaks for itself.
It really does. It really does. And I enjoy having that sort of that luxury of being
it pays dividends now.
It does, yeah. It's like something remarkable means that you're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
You're willing to make a remark about it.
Right.
That's what remarkability is.
Right.
So just having a remarkable product in and of itself is like, it's a really cool place to be. Now I'm sure there are people who can put numbers in front of me and say, hey, Justin, like, you'll get X amount of market share if you do da 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 da. And it's like, that's a conversation down the road.
Sure.
When it's like, I have an actual factory and I'm able to do all that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm taking care of my family really well. We're able to do a lot of the things we couldn't do just a few years ago because it takes time for business to really take off.
If some money tree grew or some person came along and was like, hey, let me throw you this amount of money so you can grow your operation then yeah, maybe it might open up other questions to where else can Kyoto Black be sold?
Yep. So they would have to take a debenture. Not selling my company.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only thing. At least not now. So.
No.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yep. So
good for you, man.
Thanks. It's good catching up with you guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Cool. Later,
Cheers.
guys. Oh, before we wrap, this will be like in the credits maybe, but what can we expect for the end of the year? I mean,
I feel like I should do it
as far as episodes and as far as the business, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the business is just doing what it does. You know, you can expect like another limited edition drop or two.
Okay.
And I think I want to do a coffee eggnog for Christmas.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah.
I'm not an eggnog person, but if you add coffee to it, I'll try it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking at eggnog recipes for a while, and I think it's probably time to start a nog about now for Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah,
agreed.
You let it age a little bit, and
yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, because you have to get it over like 20% alcohol, and then you can age the nog like indefinitely.
Wait, I didn't know not eggnog is alcoholic.
Yeah, it's super boozy. Eggnog will get you tore up.
I did not know.
Yeah.
What kind of booze is in it?
You put brandy, you can put whiskey. You know, everybody's got their own kind of secret sauce.
I did not know that.
So yeah, so I'm more of a brandy guy. I think I'm gonna do a cognac or something like that. You know, in the nog, and just start letting it age for a couple weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It from what I understand, it's like it gets better, and then it just gets kind of different from there. And for some people, they're like, I don't like it. It's too boozy tasting. It's too harsh.
Oh, sure.
But the idea would be is like, okay, that nog now is a kind of ancient Solera nog that you can add to new nogs.
Oh.
And give it a little oomph.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like soy sauce or something like that. Like you ever, you know, the places that do the aged soy sauce?
No.
Like there's a Japanese stand that does unagi.
Wow.
Yeah, and their unagi sauce. So they grill the unagi, right? And they have their unagi sauce that they put over it as it's grilling. The sauce that falls through.
Really? They save that?
They save it, and then they add it to the sauce. So they've been doing that for like 1,000 years. I'm not even joking. They've been doing that for
so cool.
For legit 1,000 years. It's always been that.
It's kind of like when people are making the soup or the broth for whatever, you know, whether it's pho or something else, and they just, like you said, it's been brothing or brewing for like 1,000 years. And they just take a little scoop of it every time.
Yep. So they just keep doing it. I mean, I've done that with Kyoto style.
Oh.
You know, at my previous job, we were Soleraing the Kyoto style, and it gave you a consistency over time because it was the same coffee. Yeah, and it would just give you a consistency over time.
Even though it's getting older and older.
But you're always adding more than you take away.
Okay.
Or not really. You're always adding, like, the way it worked out is, like, you would take, like, 60% of it out and serve it and then replace that.
Sure.
Take 60% out and then replace that. And it's like you're always taking, like, the majority of it out and then replacing it.
Yeah.
So it never funked. It was under refrigeration, too. But it never went bad. And we were doing that for, like, over a year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that before.
Yep.
Just super concentrated.
Just like that Solera. And it gave you a consistency of kind of flavor over time. Because it's like there's always a little bit of the last batch in the new one. So you come day to day, and it just tastes like the same.
That's nice.
Yeah. So
do people do that with ramen?
I wouldn't be surprised,
any broth,
honestly.
right? Like
broth.
any
broth you can do it. Yeah. Anything, especially if it's like really salty. Because the salt is a preservative.
Okay.
So, like, that's why you can do it with the unagi sauce, for example, because it's, like, super salty. So that helps kind of preserve it. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Maybe we should take shots of that next time.
I'm looking forward to trying the nog. Any other episodes?
Oh, man. How many more episodes do we have? We got, like, 2 more for the year, I think.
Is Dila going to be in the new year then?
We'll see. I mean, it works. Yeah. It depends on her schedule. I'd love to get Dila in before. It's just if her schedule permits it, because I know things kind of come up for her. She's so busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to do a hot pot episode with her. So we have to do it during the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to switch it up a bit.
Is that what you talked about with Konbini?
No, that's different.
Oh, that's
different. Yeah, we're just going to do beer with them. And maybe ramen. We'll see.
Okay.
But with Dila, I have a specific idea for hot pot, and I think it would be, like, perfect for her episode. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at. Hopefully we can squeeze that into this year, but if not, then not too deep into next year. So
cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Cool. Definitely.